For the next in our bajillionth in a series of graph practice, let's look at monopolies. Earlier, we were doing all these cost curves, right? And we had average total cost, average variable cost, and it was side by side with a graph of supply and demand. So with a monopoly, this is different. It's all one thing. So that makes it a little easier. We don't have to worry about this nonsense. So let me draw this a little more carefully. So if I have a monopoly, I have those same cost curves I had before. I'm going to have an average variable cost I have to deal with, ABC. I'm going to have an average total cost I have to deal with, ATC. Remember that average fixed cost is really a function of, it's really just this distance right here is my average fixed cost, this amount. So if I scooch these down to here, then I'll get an average fixed cost, but I'm not worried about that. Because I'm a monopolist, I'm making money like crazy. Oh, also I need to draw my marginal cost. It's going to go there and hitting the bottoms of those. Okay, so when we had when we were doing with perfect competition, we had a line that would come across it would be right about here. So there's our marginal revenue. And this would be if we were perfect competitors, we would produce right here and produce this much, right? And this would be our price. So that's for perfect competition. But because we're a monopolist, we don't have to take the same price. So we have the ability, because we're the only people making this product, to set our own price and actually go looking for the demand. So the demand, I'm just going to draw a demand line right through. Actually, let's make it a different color. I'm going to draw a demand line right through here. And this is demand. So here's the thing. I also need a marginal revenue line. And if I want to sell more, this is what's going to happen. If I want to sell more at each amount more that I want to sell, I need to lower my price. And what happens is I'm going to have a marginal revenue line that splits off from this and is below it and will actually hit zero somewhere in here. So this is my marginal revenue. If you want a further discussion of that, ask me and I'll try and get you the explanation for why that marginal revenue line is lower. But trust me, it is. So when it comes to setting this up to where do we produce if I'm a monopolist? Well, here's the thing. I'm always going to produce where MC equals MR. That profit maximizing advice works for the monopolist as well. So I'm going to set up right here. This is going to be the amount that I'm going to produce. There's my quantity. And here's the thing. Because I'm a monopolist and I'm producing this many, I have to obey my demand. So there's this many people. If I follow this up, there are this many people willing to pay this price. So I follow this across. Here's my price. And done. That's it. That's all I got to do. And here's the bonus of this. My price is higher than my ATC. So that means profit. So look right here. There's where it hits my ATC. So this whole thing is my revenue, this whole box, bounded by the X and Y axis and this dotted line. But right here, my costs are really only this much. So this lower rectangle, these are my total costs. Cost, ATC. And this right here, this is my profit. And here's the thing. In perfect competition, that profit goes away because other people figure out, oh, I can do that too. Profit. But here's the deal. With a monopoly, I am the only one that can make this thing. I am the only one that has the technology or the permission or the resources or whatever. For some reason, because of high barriers to entry, no one else is ever going to compete with me. So therefore, I get to keep this profit forever, so long as my demand stays right there. But maybe I can do things to lower my costs and make even more profit. Or figure out ways to advertise and increase my demand and make even more profit. So there's a lot I can do, and this is pretty nice. Now, the only way it can get even better, let me back off for a second. What if I can find a way, and here's the other thing to look at. There is some consumer surplus here. If you remember that, consumer surplus is going to be this triangle right here. If I can find a way, if there's a way for me to figure out how to, because remember, there's this person right here, because this is a person, would pay this much money. Okay, would pay that much. This person right here would pay this much money too. They'd pay a little less. This person here, they'd be happy with less. So if I can figure out a way to charge this guy up here that amount, I could get rid of consumer surplus and keep all this profit. So let me back up for a second. So here's my monopoly. You can go ahead and this is what the graph should look like. Make sure you know where the total cost box should be. ATC. Pause on that and copy it down. So let's see if I can be a monopolist and I can price discriminate, because that would be a pretty good deal. So a price discriminator is going to do the following. They are going to produce where MC equals demand, because that's going to get me sort of the most for my money. So I'm going to produce right here that amount. And here's the thing. I'm going to charge this person this price. But I'm going to charge this person this price. And I'm going to charge this person this price. And I'm going to charge this person this price. And what I can do is this whole thing, and here's everything above ATC, which is going to be right there. This entire section here becomes profit. It's kind of messy. It should follow this line up. Oh, actually, let me do the highlighter. Ooh, that's a mess. So now my profit used to be that little teeny rectangle. Now it's this massive square. So this is price discrimination. Price discrimination. Blah. Pretend that says discrimination. All right? So that is your best bet. And then last thing to look at, backing out of here. I got to erase all this nightmare. So if you're wondering, monopolistic competition we kind of skipped over. Monopolistic competition, guess what? It looks exactly like this. If I'm a monopolistic competitor, I am able to kind of keep a bit of my profit. But here's the problem with monopolistic competition is as people figure out how it is I'm doing what I'm doing, how is that guy able to put those extra bristles on his toothbrush or whatever it is I'm trying to do. Here, let me see if I can do it this way. Oh, that's nice. What will happen is these lines, my demand will kind of drop, and we'll get to a point where, oh, actually that works out kind of nicely. I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to produce at this quantity, and we're going to have ATC equal my price. So I'm going to wind up sort of losing my profits eventually, unless I can make new and better toothbrushes that work even faster and smarter, and then I can increase that demand and keep earning profits. That's it. Imperfect competition. Yay.